What's shaking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I've decided to make yet another of my at-home precons from the Spider-Man set. So this time I decided to go ahead and do Peter Parker. He's a 0-1 legendary creature human scientist hero. When he enters, he brings out a 2-1 green spider token with him. And then for 1, a green, a white, and a blue, you can transform him into Amazing Spider-Man. You can also play him for the 1 green blue from the command zone or out of your hand. So this time he is still a legendary creature. He's a spider human hero. He's got vigilance, reach. He's a 4/4, and then each legendary spell you cast that's 1 or more colors has spell slinging green, white, blue, which means you gotta return a tapped creature back to your hand after paying the cost. So what I've done with this deck is I've decided to make it with a bunch of legendary creatures or creatures in general because I wanted to keep it at a pre-constructed level to play against anybody who's either got a pre-constructed deck or who is like testing decks. So this will go along the lines with the Venom deck that I've shown on the channel previously. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and I'll show you what I've done with this deck. So we're going to start off with creatures. There are no planeswalkers because I decided to keep everything within the Spider-Man set itself, except for a few cards here and there because you just kind of need other cards, or they were only on secret layers and I haven't bought them. So we're going to start off with Spider's Man Heroic Horde. He's a 2/3 legendary hero. And then Ezekiel Sims Spider Token. Another spider. A lot of the stuff we're looking for has that subtype of spider because there's some cards in here that work with it, like this one. Beginning of combat in your turn, target spider gets +2/+2 until end of turn, which is nice because even himself, he could give it to himself, making him a 5/7. And then we'll look at the Spider Bot. Again, a spider robot scout. This lets you search out a legend or a basic land when it comes into, and put that card on top of it. News Helicopter, just another creature to come out. It's only a 1/1 for 3, but it does have flying, which is helpful. Plus it brings out a 1/1 token with it as well. Spider Girl Legacy Hero, she has flying on your turn. She's a 2/2. She can also get the buffs off any other creatures that help with spiders, and when she leaves the battlefield you make a 1/1 human citizen. We got Spider-Man India. He's got web slinging himself. So even if I don't have my Peter Parker flipped over to the Amazing Spider-Man, he can still do the web slinging himself. And then he can do some pluses and stuff like that. We got Sun Spider Nimble Webber. And during your turn, he has flying as well. So he's like the Spider Girl. And then he lets me search out for an or an equipment card when he comes in. We got Spider, piloted by Penny. It's another spider hero, 4/4. It's got vigilance. When it enters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. And then whenever it's modified, creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So modified means it's got a counter, it's enchanted with an aura, it's got an equipment on it, stuff such like that. We got Skyward Spider, which I believe is... No, it's not Arania. I can't remember in the comics itself who she was. But she's a 2/2 spider human hero with ward. And as long as... or this creature has flying as long as she's modified, which means equipments, auras, and counters are modifications. We got Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary. We got another 4/3 spider hero. He lets you search out a basic land and put it on the battlefield tap when he enters. Spider Rex Daring Dino, which is kind of like a Colossal Dreadmaw almost, but in the Spider universe. So he's a 6/6 with reach, trample, and ward. Madam Web Clairvoyant lets me look at the top of my library anytime, and I can cast spider spells and non-creature spells from the top of my library, which is fantastic because, as you can see already, there's going to be a lot of spider creatures. We got Spider Bite Web Warden. When she enters, return something that's non-land to your opponent's hand or yourself. Lila Holographic Assistant, an Illusion Advisor 2/2, and when I draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Again, very nice, especially with flyers. We got a City Pigeon. It's just a 1/1 bird. And when it leaves, it gives you a food token, so it's like it drops the hot dog that it's grabbing there. Wild Pack Squad. Beginning of combat, you get one creature gains first strike and vigilance until end of turn. So that's actually really nice in this deck. Spider UK, another spider hero for 3/4 with web slinging. Got Flash Thompson Spider Fan. So he is a legendary human citizen with Flash, which works great because he's Flash Thompson. And it lets you either heckle or hero worship, so tap or untap a target creature. Got Spider-Man Web Slinger, which is a 3/3 for 3 with web slinging, which is very nice. This is going to be great in Pauper, I believe. So I might make a Pauper deck around this spider itself. And again, I'll do it with the Venom common as well. So I'm thinking about making decks for those two. We got Aunt May, legendary human citizen. And then whenever another creature enters, I gain a life. If it's a spider, put a 1/1 counter on it. There's a lot of spiders in the deck, so Aunt May is going to help get me some pretty big stuff out there. Daily Bugle Reporters. It's human citizen 2/3. You can either do Puff Piece or Investigate Journalism when it comes out. So Puff Piece will put a 1/1 counter on up to two target creatures. And Investigate returns target creature card with mana value 2 or less from my graveyard to my hand. Which there's a lot of them, so that'll help me bring back stuff such as like Aunt May and stuff as it gets blown up, so people are sick of me getting counters. We got Starling, Aerial Ally, a legendary human hero, 3/4 with flying, and when it enters, another target creature gains flying till end of turn. Spider Woman, Stunning Savior, legendary human spider, 2/2. And it's got artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter tapped, which is always nice. It's a little bit of control within a in-universe deck that we're trying to build here. We got the Silk Web Weaver, human hero spider. She's got her own web slinging. She's 3/5. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 human citizen. And then it gets, for 5, you can give creatures +2/+2 and vigilance till end of turn. We're going with Jackal, Genius Geneticist. Lets you make copies of spells, except they're not legendary, and put 1/1 counter on Jackal, which is nice because I got a little bit of copying in here, so you can get some extra spells. Mary Jane Watson, Human Performer. And whenever a spider enters, draw a card. It only triggers once, but it is still a nice draw off of almost any spider coming in. We're going to play with the Sensational Spider-Man, because this is a Spider-Man deck, so we grabbed as many copies as we could. And this is one of the scene boxes, I think is what it's called. So this is one of the pieces of that. And he's a 3/3 human hero. We got Lizard, Connor's Curse. He's a 5/5 lizard villain. We're playing him in the deck because when he comes in, he makes another target creature a 4/4 base power, and it loses all its abilities. So that is fantastic if you've got someone doing a lot of ability stuff to you that you're getting sick of looking at. You get Spider Ham, Peter Porker, Spider Boar hero. When it enters, create a food token, and it gives your other spiders and all this other stuff 1/1. Play a radioactive spider, because you can't have a Spider-Man deck without the thing that made him. So we're going to play this one. We get a 1/1 spider with reach and death touch, and it lets you go search out a spider hero if you want to sacrifice it. We got Arachne, Psionic Weaver. She's got her own web slinging. She's a human hero 3/3. And you look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it that's not a creature, and that will cost them 1 more, so it's a little more control. We're going to play a copy of the Anti-Venom Horrifying Healer, because if I can find a way to make him indestructible, or make things like hit me and it divert to him, and he's just going to take all that damage and do a whole lot of 1/1 counters instead. So this is a fantastic card for the deck. And then we're going to play a Spectacular Spider-Man, because that is our final copy of the Spider-Man cards. It's got Flash. It's a 3/2. You can give it flying, or you can sacrifice it to basically give yourself hexproof, or your creature's hexproof and indestructible. So it's like your own heroic intervention in the deck. So after that, we're going to start with the sorceries. We've only got a couple. So we're going to play Scout the City. Lets you choose one. You get to look around or bring down. So look around, says mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. Draw 3. or gain 3 life, I'm sorry. And then bring down is destroy target creature with flying. So if you're playing against a flying deck and you don't have flying out there, that'll help you get rid of some of it. I'm going to play Kapow, which puts a 1/1 counter on a creature I control, and then it fights an opponent's creature. So that's also nice. And the final sorcery we're going to play is a copy of Rite of Replication. I mainly got this because I love the art. Mark Bagley was one of my favorite artists ever. Is that Mark Bagley? Yeah, that's Mark Bagley. It's right there. Let's say that. I know it is. But it's also create a token that's a copy of target creature. And if it was kicked, you can create 5 of those tokens. You get enough mana out there for 9, you can make 5 tokens of something that could help out a lot. So then we're going to get into the instance. So we're going to start off with Terrific Team Up. Cost 2 less if one of my creatures is a mana value 4 or greater. And up 1 or 2 target creatures you control get 1/1/0 until end of turn. They each deal damage equal to their power to target creature and opponent controls. So that's another fight without any damage coming back on your creatures. We're going to grow Extra Arms. Cost 1 less if it targets its spider, which it's probably going to. And it gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Or is it? Yeah, just end of turn. Whoosh. It's a 1 and a blue with kicker for 1 and a blue, so you can pay 2 and 2 blue, then return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If it was kicked, I get to draw a card. Play a copy of Secret Identity, so I can either choose one. I can choose Conceal or Reveal. So Conceal is until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a citizen that's 1/1 base power and toughness with hexproof. Reveal, until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a hero with base power 3/4 and gains flying and vigilance. That's not too bad for 1 blue. Amazing Acrobatics, so 1 and 2 blue. I can either choose one or both, so I can counter target spell and tap 1 or 2 target creatures. That's pretty good for 3 mana, so I can slow down a game like an opponent from hitting you. Spectacular Tactics, 1 and a white. Choose one. I either can put a 1/1 counter on target creature I control, gains hexproof until end of turn, or destroy a target creature with power 4 or greater. Thwip, which is the sound that Spider-Man's web makes when he makes it. So target creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying. If it's spider, gain 2 life. Sudden Strike, destroy target attacking or blocking creature, so that gets something out of my way. Spider Sense, so it's 2 and a blue, or it's got web slinging for 1 blue, and it's counter target instant spell, sorcery spell, or triggered ability. That's a pretty good counter spell in my opinion. And then the final one, for instance, is a Path to Exile with the gorgeous Spider-Man No More kind of art. It's not the actual Spider-Man No More, but it is that kind of art. So after that, we're going to start into the artifacts. We're going to start off with web shooters, because you can't have Spider-Man without some way for him to move around, so web shooters. And an equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has reach, and whenever it attacks, tap target creature and opponent controls. That's pretty good. We're going to play a rocket-powered Goblin Guider. Gives one of my creatures flying and haste, and when this equipment enters from the graveyard, which is by the Mayhem ability, you attach it to a creature you control. Peter Parker's Camera comes in with 3 film counters for 1 drop. Then you can pay 2, remove a film counter, and counter target activated or triggered ability, and then choose new targets for the copy. Or copy target, not counter, I'm sorry. Play a copy of Arcane Signet. I like to play a copy of Swiftfoot Boots just to make sure I've got some hexproof and some haste. We got Spider Suit for 1, generic. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, and if it's a spider hero in addition to its other types. Got a Hot Dog Cart. When it enters, it gives us a food token, plus it taps for mana, just a 3-cost mana rock. A Bagel and Schmear. It's a 1-drop. You can either share or nosh. So pay a white and tap it and sacrifice it and put a 1/1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery, which isn't that bad. And then pay 2 and sacrifice it and gain 3 life and draw a card. So whichever one you choose is still pretty beneficial. One of them can only be done at sorcery speed. Got the Costume Closet with all the different Spider-Man costumes you can see for Peter Parker back there. And when it enters with 2/1/1 counter on it, And then you can tap to move a 1/1 counter from this artifact to a target creature you control as a sorcery. And then whenever a modified creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on this artifact. So that's actually nice to move around. Play a copy of Soul Ring, because every commander deck needs one. And then our final artifact for the deck is going to be Interdimensional Web Watch. So when it enters, exile up to 2 target cards from your library until end of your next turn. You may play those cards. So if it's a land, you can still play it on your next turn if you've already played one this turn. Then you can tap this for 2 mana in any combination of colors, but you got to spend it on spells from exile only. Not bad. We're going to get into the enchantments. I'm going to start off with Wall Crawl. You know, Spider-Man's main ability is to wall crawl for 3 and a green, and then when this enters, it brings a spider out with it, and you gain 1 life for each spider you control, which is a decent amount in this deck. And then spiders you control get +1/+1 and can't be blocked by creatures with Defender. You don't see a lot of creatures with Defender and Commander anymore, but they're still out there. So there's Spider-Man no more. Enchanted creature is a citizen with base power toughness 1/1. It has Defender, so that's nice. And loses all abilities. We're going to play Web Up. So when it enters, you exile something until this leaves the battlefield. There's many cards in Magic like this. This is just Spider-Man's version. We're going to play Future Flight. When it enters, draws 2 cards. And then an enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has flying. The Rent is due. At the beginning of your end step, you may tap 2 untapped creatures and or treasures you control, and if you do, draw a card. Otherwise, sacrifice this enchantment. So you got to pay that rent. The Origin of Spider-Man, kind of necessary for the deck, which is a nice saga that they made where the first chapter makes a spider. Second chapter puts a 1/1 counter on a creature and becomes a legendary spider hero in addition to its types. And the third chapter, target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. Not the most powerful of sagas out there, but got to have the Origin in order to play Spider-Man. We're going to play a copy of Imposter Syndrome. So as long as something hits, I'm going to make a copy of it. And it might not even be legendary anymore, so I might get some good copies out of this if I hit enough. With Great Power, 3 and a white. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it, and then all damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to enchanted creature instead. So if you put this onto Anti-Venom, I believe if he's hit, he makes 1/1 counters on himself instead. So that would help a lot, because if I get hit, then it's just going to go to him. He's just going to get bigger. We're going to play a copy of Clone Saga, which is obviously a saga card. And the first chapter is to Surveil 3. Second chapter is when you next cast a creature spell, copy it, except it isn't legendary, so there's more copies. And the third chapter is choose a card name. Whenever a creature with the chosen name deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So that's pretty nice. And then our final enchantment for the deck is Friendly Neighborhood. You enchant this on a land. When it enters, create 3 citizens. And then an enchanted land has tap 1 to tap and tap it. Target creature gets 1/1 till end of turn for each creature you control. So if I've got 30 creatures, that creature's getting +30/+30, and if I find a way to make them unblockable, and if it's my commander, that could be commander damage, automatically game over right there. So that's the main part of the deck. That's all the creatures and sorceries and instants and all that. So now we're going to get into the lands. I tried to stay in universe for the most part. You know, got to jump out every now and then. So I got a copy of Vibrant Cityscape, which is just an evolving wilds, but inside Spider-Man. Copy of University Campus. Comes in tapped. It does tap for 4 and let me surveil 1, but it's also tapping for blue and white. Urban Retreat, which is the tap land that comes in for the 3 colors for my commander, but it also has 2 return a tapped creature you control to its owner's hand and put this card from your hand onto the battlefield. So that's not too bad. That's web slinging off of a land itself. Copy of Multiversal Passage. I think this is a really decent card, so I'm going to play this in almost any deck I can, really, because it really helps out. A Path of Ancestry, because it lets me get mana of any color from my color identity. And then if I cast a spell that casts creature type with it, I can scry one. Spider is all over almost everything, so as long as Spider-Man's on this side and it says spider or human, or, you know, human scientist, I'm going to get some scries off of this. Play a copy of Command Tower because, you know, if we're making a precon, we got to keep some of the precon staples in there. And then we got, I believe it's 9 copies, or 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 copies of Plains. 8 Islands. And 8 Forests to round out the decks in the mana base. So like I said, it looks like it's going to be a fun deck. I've yet to play it. I'm going to make a video for you guys where we play it against a precon to see how it does and if my deck building skills are up to par. So keep an eye out. Check out for Peter Parker. Maybe I'll do a Peter Parker versus Venom video for you guys out of the 2 precons that I made. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe. And check out any of the older videos for our Pauper Punch Out or other What the decks that I've made. And leave a comment and let me know what you like and what you'd like to see in the future. And as always, game on.